And that now we move into the second part of our workshop, which is how do we make change? Why doesn't change happen for us fast enough? Why can't we just decide on something and have it happen for us? Why do we need to keep going through this struggle of these issues time and time again and feel sometimes that we're not making any progress? Here's the reason. In our lives, we have our body here, our physical body that I talked about, and we have our energetic body here. Now, remember, we have 30,000 thoughts a day. So roughly half of them on the average person are negative. Now, every thought is a unit of energy. When I have a thought, did I lock the front door? Or did I turn off the burner? Or am I going to see this person I have a crush on today at the meeting? Or whatever it is, it's a little bit of an electrical charge, right? Well, you go through 15,000 of these electrical charges a day. That's a lot of charges. Now, this is what's happening in our energy body. And if you don't know how to clean this energy body, the energy body becomes your pain body. This is where you store all your negative thoughts. Now, so there's only 4 ways to deal with negative energy or negative emotions, and 3 of them are negative. Number 1, you can run from it. You have a feeling you don't like it, you run from it. You try to distract yourself, do anything you can to run from it. The unfortunate thing about it, it always runs after you wherever you go. So you can't really run from it momentarily. The next thing is you can stuff it down. And when we have a feeling that we don't like, we stuff these feelings down. We don't want to feel them. I had a friend of mine who was in the Holocaust. He was one of the youngest Holocaust survivors. And he went through so much pain that he stuffed it down inside him. And you could see every day the energy. It's like, it takes energy to, if you're going to keep a basketball underneath water, if you're going to stuff a basketball into the water, it takes energy to hold that down, doesn't it? It's exactly the same thing with our pain. It takes energy to stuff it down. So if you stuff it down, it accumulates and accumulates, and what happens one day? What happens to a pressure cooker once it gets filled? It goes up. And that's why you see more and more now, more than ever, people going berserk. Because, I just read in the paper about a soldier that was having a lot of anger issues. And he took a gun, he went into his barracks and started shooting people. And they caught him, they killed 4 people. And they caught him and they said, "Why'd you do it?" He said, "I was angry." And he said, well, why didn't you do something about your anger? He says, "Well, I went to see the psychiatrist and I went to see this but I didn't like what they were telling me. It made me more angry." So what happened with him? Instead of releasing it, kept stuffing it down until it blew up, and it always blows up into negative consequences. What I wrote here, thoughts becomes feelings, becomes emotions, becomes actions. Now, here's the second thing. So why don't we change? The reason why we don't change is because all of us were traumatized when we were young. All of us. If you're a human being, you were traumatized. Now, when you're traumatized, what happens is, for example, when you're traumatized, that means you were overwhelmed physically or emotionally or both, in which you went into fight or flight syndrome. Your body went, whoa. I either got to flee, I got to fight, or I'm helpless, I'm just going to freeze. And when that happens, what happens energetically is you create another body, you create another energy that wants to do 2 things. It wants to protect you, and it wants to seek out other opportunities for that same thing to happen. This is where it gets kind of called a paradox. For example, a child abused. Young child is abused, has an abusive parent. They grow up with this abuse, and what happens is they create an energetic body that protects them from the trauma if they're going to be beaten or or worse, there's a part of them that protects them, that have been able to get them through the fear, flight, or flight syndrome. Now, what happens is that whenever they see that coming, that energy body goes, hey, there's possible danger here. There's possible, you need to protect yourself. I usually use the term phobia. When for example, a little girl is bit by a dog. You know, she's petting a little dog and the dog bites her. You know, she's 8 years old. At that moment, she thinks, you know, I'm threatened. This dog biting me could hurt me. And a protection, kind of a protection shield comes around here to protect her from dogs. So whenever she sees a dog from now on, that protection body goes, ooh, possible danger, look out, watch out, not safe. Well, that might work when you're 9 years old, but when you're 30 or 40 and you see a little chihuahua walk by and you're freaked out thinking that you're gonna die, that doesn't work. Now, that's an extreme example, but that's happened to all of us. But ironically, what happens is that whatever we went through when we were younger, we have a pain body that protects us from it, but it also looks for other opportunities for this to happen again so that we have the opportunity to heal it, especially in relationships. I'll deal with this more in the relationship workshop, but essentially, if we've grown up with an abusive parent or a parent that has done certain things to us that weren't pleasant, we've had to create a wall around us to be able to deal with that until the point where we could get away from that. And as crazy as it seems, even though we were traumatized by that parent, this energy body, this unconscious energy body, will go looking for people who did exactly what that parent did and bring it into our lives. That's why you hear so much in program, I keep dating the same person over and over again, only the names are different. Or in a job situation, I get the same kind of boss, you know, just like my father or just like this. Why does that happen? Because you created what we call an energy circuit. And an energy circuit, when you get traumatized, an energy circuit is created, like with the little girl and the dog, is created inside you. And it's a negative energy that it's like keeping the basketball underneath water that's created to keep you away from negativity. But it takes energy out of you, and it releases stuff like cortisol and adrenaline, and it puts stress on the body. Like I mentioned, my friend in the Holocaust. In order to keep that energy down, boy, he had to use a lot of negative, a lot of low vibrational energy. And low vibrational energy gives you low vibrational chemicals. And as a result of that, his immune system was depleted. And unfortunately, because of that, it takes a toll on your health. That's why you hear of people, you know, who are healthy their whole lives, you know, and they're health fanatics and stuff, and all of a sudden, they come down, God forbid, they come down with something, they go, gee, they were such a health nut, what happened to them? Well, one of the reasons that happens is because you're holding subconscious energy that's unreleased. And all of us are holding unconscious energy that hasn't been released. And what this work does, and what we're doing here with the energy and emotional release, is every week we release more and more of this negative energy. Now, here's the kicker. People say, well, hey, you know, I want to have a good life. I want to be happy. I want to have a great relationship. I want to make money, but I just can't seem to. Why is that? Because we have our conscious mind and our unconscious mind. And our conscious mind is 10% of our makeup. Our unconscious mind is 90%. And that unconscious mind, that 90% is a culmination of the beliefs, of the traumas, of the decisions that we've made through our lives about what life is. And unless you're aware of this information, by and large, most of humanity lives in robotic consciousness. Robots. What do I mean by robots? Your unconscious mind or your pain body will only let you go as far as your comfort zone. Because like the little girl with the dog, whatever your particular little dog is, it's going to say, oh, that's far enough. You go beyond this line, it's not safe, it's not comfortable, you may die. So we have our comfort zone of what we've been able to do and make of our lives so far. But the irony is that everything that we want today, that we want to have for ourselves, is just beyond our comfort zone. How ironic is that? It's just beyond our comfort zone. So what we have is an unconscious, every time we start moving towards what we want, there's a reason why we don't have it. Because in your subconscious mind and in your history, there's something happened that was a block to having that. That's why, you see some people, they have tons of money, no problem, tons of money, but they don't have health. They've been, year after year, something always going on. Or somebody has, all the money and the health, but they don't have a relationship. There's always something that's kind of out of whack, and that's why we've come back to this planet, to deal with whatever it is that we need to deal with to make our correction and to move forward. So this is important information, because if you're not working on your 90%, if you just think that just going to a meeting and just talking about it is going to heal it, you're working with you'll get 10%, and everybody makes a certain amount of progress going through the steps and being a service, absolutely. But unless you move the energy out, unless you move that energetic circuit inside you that keeps going round and round every day, unless you move the 90%, unless you move the energetic energy on it, it's not going to improve. Now, how do you do that? Well, I'm going to show you a method right now, and then we're going to end with a process that takes you, the more you go into high vibrational energy, the more you start to eliminate the 90%. That's the good news about all this. The good news is using the tools that we teach here, and coming and participating, we go into high vibrational energy, and this high vibrational energy burns off negative energy. So you get to a point after a while, are we back on? You get to a point where you're hanging out in here most of the time. Okay? Now, you would think, well, gee, if that's the case, well, who wouldn't want to be up here? Who wouldn't want to do this work and get rid of their negative energy? This guy. This guy that is telling you, that was an interesting workshop that Glenn gave. There was some great information there. I think I'm a better guy, but I think I'm going to go to the movies tonight, or I think I'm going to like this. Whatever it can do to get you not to use the tools. It is so slick that this low vibration energy is so slick, it knows when you zig and zag. So that's why it takes a commitment to do this work. It takes a commitment to use the tools, to do the exercises, to come to the workshops. Because if you're gonna beat this guy can be beat, but you got to be committed to staying up here. But the good news is once you're up here, and who knows how long it takes, but it's all about week by week, a little bit less, and a little bit less, and utilizing the tools a little bit more, a little bit less, and a little bit less. That's what we do here.